Hey everybody, you guys should be able to hear me now, hopefully. Hey guys. Awesome. Take two. Sorry about that. Streamlabs was cool. Streamlabs was doing some weird stuff here. Um, I had to do some type of download here. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully everyone can hear me now. Awesome. That's what I like to hear. That is what I like to hear. Hope everyone had a great weekend. It is Sunday, August 8th. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Great. So really, I wanted to sort of do a weekly watch list. I've done this in the past. I've went over a few tickers, typically that I'm going to be focused on for the week. That I think potentially have some more upside to them, whether that's 5%, 10%, 20%. 30%, 40%, or 100%. We've seen a lot of tickers that have been on the watch list that have popped quite a bit. And I obviously, as you guys know, I focus on tickers that are receiving 30, 40, 50, 200, 500 million shares of volume, right? My scanner I like to use off trade ideas. To help base this on some of my plays, probably about 20 to 30% of my, out of 100% of my plays, 70% are mostly sort of organic, me finding the setups, intraday volume, etc. So, I want to focus on, the plays that are super liquid, the plays that potentially have more upside to them, right? And the charts that look, as I like to call my new thing, A++. And I want to be able to give out and buy alerts that are A++ that I think have a really good chance of going to the upside. So that I'm actively trading, right? So bear with me here. I'm going to run through about let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tickers. This will also be on the premium weekly watch list. I'm going to list them. That will be in the Discord channel for all you folks dialed in from Webull. I know there's thousands of you guys that on that application, which is phenomenal, fantastic. Thanks for dialing in. We also have a premium Discord, over 17,000 members in the Discord currently, as well as all you folks on Stock Twitch. Appreciate all your support as well. I know you guys are also dialed in. Feel free to see the Discord link in the bio. Tons of chart breakouts, real-time buy alerts, basically everything what I'm trading, whether I'm green or red, I'm alerting throughout the day. You can basically kind of see it live and sort of see what I'm watching. So highly recommend. Great community. We've been around for a couple years now. It's pretty awesome. So today I'm going to kind of guide you through sort of a free session here on really some of the things that I'm going to look at this week. And as I mentioned, it's about 8 tickers. First ticker, I'm going to kind of walk through a bunch here. First ticker, actually I'll run through all 8. Ticker KXIN, KXIN, ticker NURO, NURO, ticker FLGC, ticker ACY, ticker NCTY, ticker DLPN, ticker BYSI, and the last ticker CXDC. So those are about 8 or 9 tickers I'm going to kind of be looking at across tape throughout the week to see, which ones maybe are consolidating, which ones are maybe seeing some rips, maybe which a couple that maybe don't perform well throughout the week. So I'm going to be focused on which ones are sort of getting that volume, seeing that upwards momentum. So ticker KXIN, we saw this, and bear with me, I'm going to take some stuff out just to make this just a very easy chart for the beginners. Let's take a look. This stock had some news on Friday. It was sort of the top gainer all day long, and it was the most volume. I alerted this midday. I didn't trade much in the morning, and I saw sort of a midday flush out, sort of a walk down, I like to call it, into the 250s. I immediately alerted a buy at 250. I took a small position. I took about 50,000 shares, about 249 to 251 zones. Sort of bought a couple pops right in there. I sold at 270 for a quick $8,000 or $9,000 profit. And that was sort of my profits for the day. It was a pretty simple trade, and then it really just exploded. I probably left another 15, 20K on the table on this name. As I mentioned, guys, not using much size in August, really trying to downsize, save some of my size for, Q3, Q4, sort of that late H2 phase, where we're going to sort of September into December. All the funds are back from vacation, the liquidity's back, and sort of you can kind of rock and roll, finish out the year strong. So I'm going to be saving a lot of my liquidity for then, but sort of going in small, looking for small wins here in August. Just focusing, just trying to have a green month. Nothing crazy, guys. So, really want to focus here. KXIN, KXIN. Look at the daily chart here. Obviously, this was Friday's pop. Over 265 million shares went through on the tape. That is a gorgeous tape. Going to walk through sort of resistances. If you're holding this name, I know many are sort of trying to swing this multi-day run. I think you might get a multi-day run. I do think it's going to get another pop before a drop. I like to call it, the pop, lock, and drop it. You guys all know it's stupid song. I think this might get another pop. I'm going to be watching it. So we saw the daily chart here. Beautiful, absolute beautiful close. And if we look at quickly on the 5-minute chart, absolute gorgeous close. It closed at highs. I wouldn't even count this last, the last 10 minutes of session. I wouldn't even count that up in here, but I would count this. This was a strong close, guys. We had a move here all day, boom, 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 tons of volume. Look, 10 million a candle, guys. When there's that kind of liquidity, that's a bread and butter play right there for me. I know for many as well. You could pick up your 3 to 7%, in a snap of a finger, guys, but that's how much volume's going on. So, I waited for a washout in here. We had a nice lick all the way into 260. I was like, okay, that was a good buy, 250s. Then it sort of solid down, didn't sell, almost stopped out. And then it sort of ripped back here, 270. I sold right in this pop. Never got back in on the dip because it never really hit my 250 buy mark again. The lowest it got was about 254 here. Actually, no. And then it got here about 249. I didn't want to take the pop because I didn't know if it was a quick intraday scalp and then sort of new lows down in here back to the low twos. And then we sort of saw volume start to come in here. And that's when we saw the squeeze candle here for 11% all the way up to 315. And then we saw another 20 million shares in there. So this had a great close, guys. Anyone who shorted in this zone is probably even money or down 4 to 7% going into Monday if you're a multi-day short. So, I can see this stock continuing off momentum. It's down 8% on lower volume. I wouldn't say millions of shares are going through on the tape on a Friday, sort of afternoon, summer Friday. So here are my resistance points where I'd look to sell this name if you are swinging this name. KXIN, we got a double top here in the 350 to 357 zone, maybe on the top lick. 380, that's kind of on the high side. I would say on the high side, 365. My next zone for a profit-taking push, if this were to continue momentum, maybe a red to green on Monday, I'd look to sell at the 350 to 370 mark, and that's just me if I'm swinging the stock, right, guys? This is me if I'm playing it. I might try and play this Monday dip. If people sell off Monday morning on a dip, maybe it goes down 12, 15%. I might try and play it. See if it has any momentum towards back to green. If it doesn't, I'll probably cut it loose. Maybe try for an inside bar play on Tuesday. As you guys know, inside bar plays, I'll walk through those later. Those things have been freaking on fire. So a stock that runs 100, 200% in a day, right? Drops maybe 10, 20, 30% the next day, and then skyrockets another 20, 30, 40%. We saw it with CXDC, FLGC, BYSI. So all these plays, that shows strong bull momentum, right? Especially after a big day run. So just because the stock drops the next day does not mean it's weak. It just, people are taking profits, guys. It just ran 89%, right? So that's a double top here at 350. Now, if we see a clean break at 350 anytime in the next few days, my next target on the daily chart will probably be up here. Another double top around 410. 410-ish, 413. That would be my next stop. And then my grand slam would be about 470 to, I guess, above 5 here. 470 would be this double top here. See that candle here? Yeah, about 456, 460. So that would be my grand slam target on this name. Not saying it's going to get there. I'm just saying chart-wise, right? As we saw, the daily pop might drop down a bit, maybe retest. But I do think 350s could be capable with that kind of volume we saw Friday. It may take a few days to get back up there. It is a heavier float. So hopefully those price targets are helpful. Get your pen and paper. Those would be my targets. First target would be 350. Second target would be about 410. And grand slam target would be about 450. Anything above that, and I don't know, we got major quadruple top resistance here. 5x top here at around 470, which is probably where most shorts are, long-term shorts. So Yeah, I wouldn't expect this stock to go above that, but you never know. We are in crazy markets. So those are your resistance points. Hopefully that's helpful. That is ticker KXIN, and that is KXIN Auto Holdings. They had news Friday. Ticker NURO. As many know, we played this one. This was a I don't even know. This was a crazy run here. I mean, this thing went 207%, another 100% the day after, and then 18%, but a high of like, I don't even know, was another 100%. Crazy stock. Super volatile. Not for the folks that don't have a strong stomach on this. I won't be playing much size here, but I will see the daily chart. We sort of have a red, green, and this could be a green setup. I would call this consolidation, but a volatile consolidation. I mean, look, minus 12, plus 11, minus 8, plus 7. So, I mean, it's not like it's plus 1, plus 2, minus 1, minus 2. Like, it's still ranging, minus 8, plus 9. So, that's a big percentage range, but that is also why traders like to play this name, guys, because this is what I call a stock with super liquidity, super percentage range. I mean, there's so much opportunity with the percentage range on this name where you can pick up 5 to 10% in sort of a quick blip, as I like to call it. So I do sort of see some selling pressure slowly starting to die down, but it does kind of give me a nightmare from the neg chart, NEGG, that we traded about 3 weeks ago. It does kind of give me those sort of goosebump vibes here. It could be a little fake out bull and then a major drop down to the 8. So I don't know. I do think 9's a good entry here, 9 to 10. That would be sort of where I'd love to swing this stock back to the 12 to 15s for a pop. It's hard to time these pops. Neg I was a day early and then it popped 33% the next day. So I do maybe look for a red to green setup, 10-20% move. And I think your peak may be 17s. That's where I'd look to target, which is potentially 15, 50, 17, 20 to 25% upside if you were to catch it at current levels. I'd like to still get a dip around the 1290s, maybe, and then with a super tight 5% stop loss. That will be this is a name I'll be watching this week. Not a top watch, but just a name on the radar. This is the daily chart, keep in mind. You want to look at the weekly. Not really much going on the weekly here. Big picture trade. I mean, we're still at, we had all-time highs, company highs here? No. Decent weekly. I'd like to see that small red bar kind of come back up into the green and hold 15, 16 for it to be strong, maybe for an outer push back to 20. But I don't know. This could just continue to fade out. Could be a fader. But yeah, I'll be watching it. Daily chart looks okay for a small bounce, but it just, as I mentioned, guys, it may not be ready, but it will be a watch this week. That is ticker NURO. That is Neurometrics. Another ticker that we've called, I think now, let's see what this is trading at, 12. Up a little over 150% now since I sort of hit down in here. We kind of took a position, I think it was late fives, early 6s. I called it a buy alert, and I didn't think it'd run multi-day, so some of these candles are pretty crazy. Had another big close today, 956, up 9%. If you look at the daily chart, guys, we're only going higher and higher lows with higher and higher highs. So that's always a great sign for bull momentum. Will this continue up, down into the 18s? Even bigger picture, 20, up, down to 20. I don't know. This is a recent IPO, right? So dated back to May, all the way back into May. So we're at all-time highs, right? So anything above this trend line right here, all up in this joint, above this is all basically profits for the company. I mean, profits for any type of trader that bought the IPO. So, this is a nice trade, nice chart. I think that's why it's being played a bunch. There was some news, I think, early on, was a couple weeks ago, maybe, if I can recall. But guys, I mean, this is really just a simple bread and butter sort of trader. This is just being driven on trading aspects here. Like, this is just from a chart perspective. Traders are liking it because they know the peaks here with 550, 560, and now we're way above it. So anything sort of can happen. Reminds me of like a BTX, right? That sort of rent like 15 to 90 or APVO 6 to 90, right? So kind of reminds me of that a little bit. I don't know, but it's the tape to me, guys, the tape and the price action to me in the last couple of days has started to get a little bit heavier. Even though that it's somewhat of a small float, I think, 9 million shares, 10 million shares, 6 million, one of those. It's relatively a small float. per shares, but for some reason it's starting to get a little bit heavier for me. Even the volume's still up there though, 8 million shares a day. So I'm going to keep an eye on it, maybe get a little dip back down to the high 11s here, and if it holds sort of that 1130, maybe we get a rip back to the 1415s. It's going to be a watch. If traders continue to play it and I'm seeing volume inflow and I'm seeing good price action, I'll probably take a position and try and scalp this throughout intraday. Won't be holding overnight, but I'll be looking for an intraday potential position. That's ticker FLGC. That is Flora Growth Corp. I believe they're on the cannabis sort of weed sector side of things. Next one, a super interesting one. I alerted it Friday. It didn't do what I thought. It did kind of do what I thought it was going to do. But this is going to be a watch for an inside bar play this week, guys. This is ACY. This is a micro floater, 1 mil float ticker. Look at the daily chart here. We saw a nice little small volume, 13%. Then we saw about 10x volume from the day before for about 28%. Then we saw 100% from that volume, another 10x percent for 35%. And then we saw another 10% peaking at 31.35. Ticker's now trading at 23. So that's good price action. I mean, look at the volume coming in here. The shares that were traded and bought up in here, look at these candles. They're way higher than this was only 430,000 shares traded Friday, and it dropped 15%. So you talk about range percentage. I mean, that's not a lot of volume, and it dropped that much, right? But it's not a lot of volume, and it's going up 35% as well in some of these candles. So if you look back to the weekly chart on this one, I actually really like this chart. I really like this chart. This is going to be, excuse me, this is going to be one of my top watches. I mean, I could see this hitting 38 and above, maybe even 50. I know that maybe sounds crazy, but look at all this consolidation in here. It broke the 16 plane. We're above that. It broke the 19 plane. We're above that. It broke the 22 plane. We're above that. And we're sort of sitting at this 23 resistance, triple top 23 resistance. No, maybe quadruple, 7 top resistance here, 22, 23. So there are a lot of potential. I don't know the short interest on this name, but there's a lot of resistance here in the 23. I think if it were to cleanly break that 28 to 30, that is where I'd be uber bullish and may see that 38 peak again for all-time highs. I like this name. This is a weekly lookout. I do really like this name. We saw a nice little rinse out. I'd stop lost out on this trade on Friday. I think it was for even money or maybe a tiny loss. But I'd love to maybe catch a nice red dip Monday morning. I'd love to catch a 4 to 6% red, maybe down in here, in the 20 to 22s. The best entry would probably be around 18. But I think it might consolidate in here. I mean, look at that inflow though. And this inflow is what's really catching my attention in this area, these two bars. So I'd love to catch maybe one bar down and maybe a rip up into new highs to 30s. That would be a beautiful 50 to 70% play. And I would probably, being how thin this is, I'd probably do a multi-day here. I'd probably start a small starter. And then maybe if it pops up on the swing, I'd then start to scale in with size and intraday trade it while holding profits from the starter. That would be my sort of trade thesis and approach on this name. I have no idea what sector. I have no idea what they do. To be honest, I don't care. I'm just looking at the chart. It seems to show very bullish, promising signs right now. And it sort of is the sleeper. I haven't seen anyone talk about it. Haven't seen anyone mention it. But it's a great chart. Look at the weekly, guys. It's phenomenal here. Look at this bar on the weekly. It's an 83% candle. It's one of the best performing stocks of the month. Top 10. So, this one should have eyes on it, guys, and it should start to get some eyes. It was a summer Friday. I don't know if there's news coming out. Is this thing gonna push up to new highs above 38? I don't know. But I want to watch this name. I'm going to be watching it all week. It's going to be on a slot on my computer. That will be a tape watch for me. This is ticker ACY. Your resistance points intraday, 5-day layout. I target about 25, target about 27, and then I'd probably start to look into it's got about 28, 20, and then 31 would be the sort of 2-week high there. 5-day high in the last, or maybe 7-day high. 31 would be another target. So you got about three intermediate targets for 10, 25, and 35% I just gave. Anything above 30, 31, I'm swinging for the home run. This breaks 31, and I'm going to swing for the home run. I'll just put a stop loss probably at around 28, 29, 30 bucks. But I'm telling you, if this thing breaks 31, I'm going to swing for 40, 50, 60, 70, wherever the high is. And I'm just going to put a stop loss, move it all the way up to above, around that 31, sort of break. So we'll see. We'll see what this thing does. ACY, I like it. It's going to be a top watch for me just from a chart perspective. NCTY, I alerted a potential swing idea off 14. Didn't have the best close, but I saw some buying action in this zone. I'm going to look at the daily chart. This is ticker NCTY. They have to do with sort of the mining. So crypto is hot over the weekend. Don't know what it's doing now. I'll take a look at the end of the stream. But I like this name to potentially fill up this gap into the 16s. So it could be a nice 10 to 14, maybe 16% pickup. Sort of nice consolidation. We're starting to see some volume start to slowly trickle back in. 3, 10, 7, about 12, 15 million shares up in the last 4 or 5 days. I like to see a nice test of 16, 10, 15% upside potentially here, guys, before some profit taking. And then if it breaks that, the next level I'd like to see is around the 18 to 20 zones. That would be a nice daily chart gap fill. And that would be for about, sort of 30 to 50% here. 30 to 40%. So it could be a nice trade. I don't see, it could maybe break 20 and just fly to 25. That would be sort of full-time grand slam. I'd like to see this hit 16 though. That would be my immediate target if I were to buy a dip Monday and sort of look for a sell. If I'm swinging, that would be a nice 1590 to 1620 would be a nice target for me. I'm going to be watching it. I want to see price action. Not fully yet dialed in and locked in on this name. Would like to see some better price action, a little bit more volume. I'd like to see sort of a Riot Mara type of volume start to flow in. Maybe some algos. I'd like to see switch to the bullish side. I'm sort of starting to see that trickle, but I'd like to see some more volume in the next few days before I get some, confident size in here. I'm going to be watching this name. That is NCTY. That is the 9 LTD. Got 3 more names on the list, folks. DLPN, as many know, I've talked about this name a bunch. They had a great news with FTFX, which has a huge sort of scope on crypto and NFT sort of subscriptions and sort of, I think it was like 10 million users. Don't quote me on that number of users they have reached for marketing, etc. I like this name. I also like the chart. NFTs sort of got that 5-day pop. I think it was like 7 or 8 trading days ago. If we take a look at the weekly chart, guys, we saw a huge breakout. This was back when the NFT phase happened. This was up 132%. Sort of died out, then it popped. Sort of died out, now it popped again. The volume came back, 70 million shares. And this is the weekly perspective. Look at the daily. Daily's okay. I like this lick bottom down off of 950, and buyers came in on Friday. I actually scooped up some shares, 960, for a beautiful day trade out of 10. I'm still swinging some here. I like this name. I really would like to see a retest of the 12s and then potentially up in here of a 13 push to 14s. I don't think any real fireworks would happen unless we break 19. Then you might see 20 to 25s on this name. But in sort of short-term goals, I really would like to target 1150 to 12 13s. That's really where I'd like to see another 10, 20% pop. But let's see price action this week. There hasn't been much selling pressure. Down 5% on this name is like not much on like 1 million or 500,000 shares. It's not much. It traded like 80 million shares the other day, right? So on the news. So it's like, for me, that's not crazy price action. I don't consider 5% on this name like a huge drop. I'd almost consult it like a dip buy opportunity. If I'm seeing 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 million shares being traded and we're down 5, 10, 15, 20%, then I'm like, okay, this may have more downside risk. But until I see volume selling pressure and the price action start to flow in, I'm going to remain bullish on this name. I do like this name for further upside. Target 1050, and then 11 seems to have a triple top. And then really if 11 breaks, look for that 1150, 1186 mark. That's sort of the 5-day window. If you can look, this is the 5-minute chart. That's ticker DLPN. This is an NFT sort of space in play. As you guys know, I've traded NFTs probably the last year or two. I've made 6 figures on ticker TCAT. It was my bread and butter. It's actually one of my best trades of the entire 2021 thus far, ticker TCAT. But I've sort of moved on from it, guys. It's bled down from that huge support at 17. And I don't even know, it's probably sub 10s now. It's like in the 6s, I think. Dolphin, since the huge NFT run they had, they've held strong around the 8 to 12 mark. Whereas TCAT sort of ran to the 30s, 40s, 50s, and it's dropped back down to 6. So there hasn't been much support there. So when I look at bigger picture swings, this ticker has had a lot of support in the 8 to 12 zones. And that is why I like sort of the safer pick. And it's also a lower float, so it does move rather quickly. I think it's like a 6 or 9 mil float. So I do like that aspect of it. And I like that there's some analyst coverage. I think Maxim Group's on it. There's a few other analysts and names on this name. And I do like when there's analysts involved that are bullish, raising price targets or saying there's more upside. There's more comfortability in that. People like to see that investor-wise, retail-wise. So, I like this has now become sort of my NFT mothership watch. This is ticker DLPN. It used to be TCAT, and I say everything else follows TCAT. That was when the trend first started, but now I think Dolphin has sort of taken that front NFT sort of spot, and I'm talking in the sort of small to med cap space. This market cap, I think, is probably 100 to 200 million. If I'm talking large cap NFT, I'm talking the mothership is probably like Playboy, PLBY. And that's actually at some decent prices right now. 28 ran to the 40, 50, 60s. That could potentially be a nice swing entry for 10, 20% long-term upside. I am potentially looking for maybe a Roth IRA play out of that. They have some promising licensing and NFT revenues down the line. So I'm going to be watching that one. But in terms of the small med cap area, out of HOFV, Dolphin, TCAT, this would be my favorite. So do keep an eye for some dips, potential rips. If this breaks down under sort of that 875, 930 mark, then I'm going to be a little bit more worried. But I'd like to see volume sort of come back into this name. I like to see better price action. So we'll see what it does this week. If we sort of stabilize, get a 5, 10, 20% pop and sort of hold that, I'll be watching. We'll see what happens. And then I have 2 more names, guys. I know we've been on for a half hour. I appreciate everyone's time, and I hope that these sessions are helpful, in terms of the entries, the exits, what I'm watching, how I'd like to trade these stocks. Because there's a lot of, if you're consistent at doing this, at taking those 5, 10, 15, 20% gains on very liquid stocks, you're going to be very profitable. You're going to be very consistent in your trades. This methodology has helped me turn 15,000 into 1.7 million in less than 13 months. And that account challenge of mine, I'm almost at 2 million. I want to get there. I want to show everyone my method works for me. And I know it works for thousands of folks. I've had tons of folks and customer, testimonials in our Discord. I want to teach and coach everyone. This is why I do these YouTube sessions. I hope that me studying these charts, me showing you where I'd like to enter, where I'd like to exit is helping you sort of understand how to read charts. Maybe it helps your strategy, whether you're a day trader, a swing trader, a technical trader, an investor, whatever you may be, right? It can never hurt to learn charts because charts can tell you so much on where a stock is going or headed in what direction. So I really, focus on that stuff. I hope this stuff is definitely helping. Last 2 tickers, BYSI. This one had some, I think it was promising lung cancer phase 3 data on, was it Wednesday, 3 or 4 days ago. I scalped this about 2 or 3 times now. I had a huge trade on this one for about, I think, a 40 to 60K print during the news. I think I loaded around 21, 22, and I sold in the 27, 28 with some major size. That was a beautiful trade for me. We've had some upgraded price targets all the way into the 100. I think there was 100 price target came out in this name. Now, the reason why I like this name is because I think there's a huge insider holding and institutional holding on this name. I don't know the percentage, and there's only 11 million shares outstanding, guys. So there could be a lot of gains being played on this name. There's a ton of volume. I mean, there's tons and tons of volume. And, 10, 20, 30 million shares, guys, may not seem like a lot, but you have to understand When you put that in dollars on a name at BYSI trading at $26 a share, 10, 20, 30 million shares. I mean, guys, do the math, right? 10 million shares at $26. I mean, that's a ton of money. And there's billions of dollars being traded in this name a day, right? So you have to look at dollar value as well, not just the volume. I didn't love the close, guys. I really didn't love the close. Here's the 5-minute. I'm going to sort of walk through the 5-minute chart. I love that we broke 30. I was like super bullish when it broke 30. I thought this may run the 35 close, and it didn't. It sort of died out. There was a lot of Friday profit taking. You have to understand, right? A lot of volume in here in the 23, 24s, and it ran the 28s, right? So people were like, oh, I'm going to take my 10, 20, 30%, and it's Friday, Summer Friday, right? But I want to watch this name because I'd love to maybe get another dip in the 24s. Best entry, I think, for me or anyone here playing this name is the 2350 double bottom. It's a 2x bottom down here. If it gets down there, I will probably try off that. I hope they don't go stop loss rate hunting here. I do like this name off 23s. I think if it breaks the 23 zone, sort of look to rinse it out. It may retest that 20, maybe even lower. 21 or 22 even lower. But I like 23 as a starter here. I also like 24 to 25 as a starter here. I'd like to see the higher lows come in effect. And then the higher risk starter here on Monday, if it breaks down to this, will be around 25.50, 25.60. And then big picture trade, guys. Let's take a look at the daily. Don't short in biotech. That is my number one rule in trading the last couple of years. Do not short biotech. You can lose your freaking... Oh man, you could lose your pants. These stocks are just so unpredictable, especially, good phase, good price target upgrades. NTLA, you guys probably remember that gene therapy one. I think I lured at like 80, 90 bucks. The thing ran all the way to 200 in 5 to 6 days. So it's like, you don't know what these med to large cap biotech stocks are going to do. And there's a ton of volume on them too. And they're very much hard to read. So, it's a tricky area, tricky sector, but there's a ton of potential lucrative opportunities in this sector. I do like the pop. It's above the sort of 2-year trading. This is traded 2 years from 2019 all the way to 2021. It is traded from $24 a share to $9 a share in that zone. And now we broke that 25. We're trading above it currently. I do like that aspect of it. I would like to see a clean break of 30 because as you can see, there's a lot back all the way to 2018 here. The high is 48, and that's why you saw traders, guys, take profits in the 40s. Look, it almost hit 48 when the news came out. People are like, why did it dump from 46? What do you mean, why did it dump from 46? Back in 2018, almost 4 years ago, this hit $48. So any investors who've been holding multi-year, they got their money back and then probably a lot more of it, right? So they're going to either lock for profits or even money up in the 40s. So I wasn't shocked by the sell-off in the 40s. I wanted to, sort of buy that 23 to 25 dip and hope that it holds at a new higher resistance point. So those would be, I'm watching this stock. I think we got to see a clean break of 30.31. And then I really think if we see a clean break of 30.31 on this ticker name, I think we're going to see new highs. I think we'll see a 44 pop and potentially maybe a 50 to 70 bagger here. And that is only if it clean breaks 30 to 31. I would almost be bullish on the 30.31 break and buy that for a multi-day swing. But I would like to try and catch a dip on this name. But as I mentioned, guys, it has had some weird price action the last few days. I don't know if it's sort of consolidation and everyone's trying to pick up shares. I don't know what's going on. As I mentioned, biotech's a little funky, hard to read. But I would just play the spikes. You see volume, you see that. Look to just play the spikes because this does have a lot of range, 5, 10, 20%. As you saw on Friday, it closed up 23.5%. So that's ticker BYSI. Last ticker, which I don't love, but a lot of traders are sort of fantasizing over this chart. I actually lost a lot of money on this ticker name this week. CXDC, this thing sort of just like freaking pumped from like 37 cents. I don't know. It hit my scanner when it was up like 100% at 94. I tried to do a little scalp here, lost in there. And then the next day I tried to overnight. I was buying dips. I had like 400,000 shares at like 0.60 something, and I stopped loss all the way down to like 55. mean, that little raid there, I stopped loss in there. I lost like 10, 20 G's. Actually, might have been even 30 grand in there. And then the next day, I wake up and this stock hits 93 cents again. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's 50. It's almost freaking 70% from where I bought it. It would have been a huge trade. And, and the volatility of this name is not what I'm loving, because I would have shorted on that, and I would have. It's not playing well, but it had 2 nice closes. If you decide to play this name, have a strong stomach or a super tight stop loss and use small size. I'm not going to play size ever again on this. Maybe 100, 200,000 shares. Not much. I don't plan on playing size with this name. But I do think there is a gap fill back up to 97, $1, 105. But there will be no fireworks unless this 107 breaks to a 130 range here. And these bars here, I don't love these just major sell candles here. Under 96, which is, as you can see, which is where traders have been taking profits because they don't like those bars either. This is sort of peaked in here. But it might fill that gap to 96 and then maybe look to sell. That's another 20, 30% from current. So, do look for that. But as I mentioned, this is not going to be a top watch. This is a scalp at best. The volatility is 20, 30% up and down daily. I don't love the name. There has been some decent volume. I know some traders who are very bullish on this name, and I can't see why. There's nothing to me, guys, on this chart that screams I'm so bullish. All I see is lower and lower lows with major gap down candles. Lower lows, gap down. Lower low, consolidation, gap down. Lower lows, lowest lows, rip. Maybe it breaks 112. I don't see why. I don't see what people see on this name. And for me, when I don't see it, I don't tend to play it. I lost on it too. Maybe I'm a little biased that I think there's more downside to this name. Over time, it might have been just a short-term 5-day play. I don't know. But I'm going to be watching it. CXDC, that is China XD Plastic. Also a China name. Not too big of fans with China name overnights, unless it's larger cap like DD, Baba, etc. And that's the weekly watch list, guys. 45 minutes. 45 full minutes. I have no voice. I need a beer or water or something. Maybe some dinner. But I hope you guys are loving this content. I don't have to do this stuff. I do this to try and help you guys. I hope you guys understand I do this all out of love, and I'm trying to help all of you. I really want everyone to learn and become better traders, investors, whatever it may be. I really hope all this education is helping. If you are not subscribed to Spud Zone Discord, I highly recommend it. Link in the bio. Also hit subscribe on YouTube. Love to have you guys. Love to see more and more subscribers. Just made the YouTube. We're already at 3,500. Let's keep building this thing up. And please leave your reviews in the main trading room floor. I'd love to get some action. Love to get some Q&A going up in there. I won't do the Q&A live on YouTube today. But sort of leave your feedback, and we'll go from there, guys. I'll post these names just in the weekly watch. See, I have them written down. So when you guys are sort of trading or working at work and want to look for potential dip ads or find news or whatever it may be, you can watch some of these names. And then let's have another phenomenal week, guys. It's mid-August. As I mentioned, I've traded red August the last 2 years. I'm trying to break the streak. I had a big red day, I think Thursday, and Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm red on the month currently, so I'm trying to break this streak. I'm hoping to go green. Let's see what happens. Looking forward to the next couple of weeks here and then into September. But let's trade well. I'll be downsizing again this week, going for tiny base hits, 5 to 10 green days, 5 to 10K green days. That's all I'm really looking for. If I hit a home run, 30 to 100K green day, great. If not, I'm sort of focusing small. So hope everyone enjoyed the session. See you guys in the main trading room floor. And if you're not following me, you can follow me on StockTwits, 21,000 followers there. You can follow me on Webull, 53,000 followers there. And then as well as subscribing to YouTube. So I do give some free content out here and there. And have a great rest of the night, everybody. See you in the Discord team.